Good greetings everyone. We're going to start this evening with just a video, a quick video. So let's listen in.
Because you're hiding behind your old self. Stop missing the best years of your life because you're hiding behind your old self. I want you to walk boldly in your purpose. Walk boldly in your passion. I need you to make quitting not an option. Quitting is not an option. Get out of your own way by doing the things that are necessary. How many of you in the morning wake up, when you wake up in the morning, whatever time you get up, you are committed to doing those top 10 things on your list? Or you should have a list. You should have a list that you wrote last night with 10 things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 things that you're going to do in the morning before 10 a.m. 10 before 10. You've heard 1,000 times by a million different people. And you've heard it from me before some time ago. But now I'm telling you again, 10 by 10. Write down 10 things. Now listen, it can be something as simple as get gas in my car. 1. Get to work on time. 2. Turn in that project. 3. So forth and so on. But what is it that you must get done? What's the things you have to get done? Write them down the night before. That way you won't be losing sleep because you're thinking about it. So that's the first thing. You're writing it down. Now each week, each day, each moment, but have a plan, because if you don't have a plan, that means you're running around, or you're in use of the analogy of riding in a boat. You're on a boat and your direction, you might be going around in circles because you're acting like a boat with no rudder. You know, little rudder is a little thing in the back that keeps it going in the right direction. So make sure you're going in the right directions. Be a ship with a rudder. Write everything down. I'm telling you, I just told you all just last week that I was an ENFP. I'm an extrovert. And it's that's very intuitive. It's all about the feelings, and I'm very perceptive. But this is the deal, because I'm high extrovert, sometimes I can be a boat without a rudder if I am not consistent, so I must write things down. I'm coming to you talking to you about things that I know, not things I've heard about. I'm telling you I'm high extrovert, and I promise you, those that know me, and particularly those people that are the complete opposites of my personality, they want a whole lot of what I have, and I want a whole lot of what they have. So I seek those people out because they work in the lane of brilliance that I don't. And I encourage you to go ahead and build up those muscles of those things that are not your gifts, that are not your natural gifts. See, that my ENFP, those are my natural abilities that come naturally to me. I'm naturally an extrovert. I'm naturally intuitive. I'm naturally a person with a lot of emotion. I'm naturally very perceptive. What is your lane of brilliance, and what can you do? So this is the first thing. Because you know, Les Brown says, don't be talking if you ain't making no points, and make sure you're making a point if you're speaking. So now I'm going to be talking about what I'm talking about. So this is the thing. I want you to make sure that you write down a list before you go to bed every night. I don't keep you writing on a napkin, but make sure you can see it the next day. Get those 10 things done by 10. When I do those things, my life is in order. When I don't do those things, my life is out of order. It's in disarray. I'm not feeling productive. And when I'm not feeling productive, then some of my energy is zapped. And when my energy is zapped, a person like me who has all this enthusiasm, it does not go unnoticed. And it looks like I'm in a sad place, when really I'm stressed, and stress is something that comes naturally. According to the Association of Americans of Science about Stress, they say 70% of Americans have stress. They are physically or psychologically. So here's the deal. We have to deal with it. Bring it down. And understand where our strengths and our blind spots are. So quitting is not an option. Whatever you're doing, the reason you're thinking about quitting it is because you don't have a plan. The reason you're thinking about quitting it is because you have lost focus. The reason you're thinking about quitting is because of fear, false evidence appearing real. But I need you to face everything and rise, as Les Brown says. Quitting is not an option. When you take quitting off the table, when failure is not an option, when you quitting is not an option, you will succeed. Take the option off the table and you will succeed. Know who you are. Like I said last week, I want you to do an assessment of who you are. Know your characteristics, know your strengths and your weaknesses, and know your blind spots. But know who you are. Take quitting off the table. Make sure you do that 10 by 10, right? 10 things by 10 a.m. every morning, it would be life changing. I double dare you. I challenge each and every one of you to do 10 things by 10 every morning. Write your list down, and making quitting not an option. Period. And that's all I have for you. So now listen, all my extroverts out there, all my people that are on their way to a mission brand new you. This has been Dr. Stephanie Wall, and I want you to go ahead. I know you're shining that light, shiny light, because your light is somebody else's light, right? That light needs to shine. The world needs it, but I want you to know it's okay to dim your light sometime, because you're still amazing. You can walk into the room and still not have to outshine everybody in the room. You are amazing, and your light shines no matter what. Be a blessing, be a blessing, be a blessing.
All right. Let me come on this screen so you all know I have to stand up. Y'all like, I guess I'm doing something a little different. So I'm gonna stand up because I like to stand up. Uh-oh, I got another video. Come on, y'all hold on. Y'all can't hear it. But I want to turn it on. All right. This is what happened when you're using technology. Everyone wants to keep coming back. All right. So this is what I'm going to do. Now, I know that y'all have already been told to not be told. You all have been told that you can't talk. Well, I can't engage if you ain't talking. So I'm going to, and I'm trying to stand up. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the chat up so I can kind of see it. What do you guys think about? So I want to know how many of you, by show of, I guess you can use your virtual hand, use the reaction button. How many of you, through your reaction button, have ever done an assessment? Have ever done an assessment? In fact, before I get up, I'm going to ask you this question. Have ever done an assessment, a Myers-Briggs or anything to see what kind of personality you are? What are your characteristics? If you've ever done any of those things, you can write it in here. In the chat, or you can write me, or you can raise your virtual hand, or you can put an emoji or give me a thumbs up like I just did on my screen. Can you all see my screen? All right, I see a hand raised. I see Jay Leroy has done it. Emmanuel. So this is what, and you guys, Romaine, that's huge. Let me see, who is this? Jeremiah, Estelle. If I'm not saying your name right, you're gonna find a way. Make sure I get it right. That's the one thing. So this is the deal, you all. I will tell you that one of the key positions I had with an employer, within a government, one of the things that was required from everybody and CFAS, everybody that worked there. So I was hired to be the strategic outreach coordinator out of the office of the county executive, which is like a mayor, the governor, if you will, of the township. And every person that worked in that office, before you got in that specific position, you had to take an assessment. Before they even hired you, you had to take an assessment to see if you, in fact, did you the right energy, you're the right mojo, if you will, to be in that spot. So now get this now. You all that have never heard me speak, sometimes I can speak a little rapid. So if it's too fast, give me the Dr. Wall, I need you to bring that down a little bit, slow it down if I'm moving too fast. And I have a lot of energy, you all. We call it passion. It's passion. And it comes from a place that I am very passionate about this particular topic, and it's been particularly anything in leadership and women in leadership. But I want to tell you that what that is a strategic outreach, a person that's in a position where you are forward facing. And remember that for my leaders here, if you are putting people in positions that they're forward facing, meaning they're the first people, or they're the people that's going to come in contact with your clients, customers, community, or whatever, make sure that their personality matches what you expecting them to give out. Are y'all with me? And if you're with me, give me a thumbs up. You have to make sure, because sometimes we want somebody to be customer service. We put them out there right in the front where they're supposed to be happy and smiling and engaging, and that ain't their gift. That is not their lane of brilliance. They have a resting That's it. All the time. Their face stays right there. And it's not that they're an angry person. That's just that ain't their gift. They've never been a smiley person. Leroy, you know what I'm talking about? They've never been a smiley person. And you want them to be up there smiling. Or you know, there's a person that you're gonna be shaking hands or greeting people, and that's not their thing. Now, let me just tell you all this, that COVID has set me back about a mile because see, I'm a hugger. I'm a hugger and toucher, and then this COVID-19, but we got to be all backing up, has messed up my mojo a little bit. So, but I've gotten there. I'm pounding. I'm giving the elbow. I'm back in the game, y'all. I'm back in the game. All right, let's get into this. I don't want y'all to think I don't have something for you, but I want you to know there's a couple of things before we get started. If somebody write this in the chat, I want everybody. In fact, I want everybody that can write in the chat to write this, to type this. That learning is repeating that teaching is repeating until learning occurs. I'm going to say it again. Teaching is repeating until learning occurs. That is for all of you. Teaching is repeating until learning occurs. Now, don't you worry. I'm going to show you all like a quick little presentation, but you will get it. Everything I talk about today, I'm going to give you guys all kinds of links. You're going to get so much free stuff and all kinds of goodies today, tomorrow, and the next day. Till you just going to be like, oh, it's going to be like Christmas. It's going to be like a holiday. It's going to be like it's your birthday. But I don't want you paying attention to the little goodies I'm going to give and not paying attention to me and the people in the class. So I'm going to hold off to the end. Y'all good with that? Give me a thumbs up. Teaching is repeating until learning occurs. And also, I want you all to remember this. Whatever you do, when you are teaching someone a specific thing, you absolutely must, because the way the brain is set up, you must repeat it at least 3 times. The first time they heard you, the second time they heard you, the third time understanding sets in. The first time they heard you, the second time they heard you, the third time learning takes place, understanding takes place. All right, so I'm going to share my screen again, and maybe I won't stand because I want to be able to see you all, but I'm going to share my screen once again because I want to show you this. That's me, you all. That is me. We're not. All right, so let me come on down here. So I was all up in the module, all the way up here, y'all. See, this is what happens. And this is a great lesson for you all to learn here about presentations. I don't want you to ever feel that you must be perfect. I don't want you ever to feel that you are not going to make a mistake, because you will. So I'm going to move some things around just so I can see my screen fully. All right. All right. What is this? Okay, good. All right, so women in leadership. Before we even begin, I'm gonna move my table because I was gonna show it, but I want to tell you one thing. I don't know. Everybody has their own thing, so I want you to tell me how many of you where you live, where you reside, by show of hands or in the chat, actually in the chat, because that way everybody else can see it. In the United States, we have never had a female president. We have a female vice president currently. In the township or the county I live in right now, we have had one female who served many years ago for one term as the county executive, if you will, right? We have never had a female serve as the governor. But what I do know, and you guys are going to share lots of stories with you, but we have limited time, so we have to move quickly. But I will tell you that I retired as a commander. And what was a commander? I was the person with the local law enforcement where I was in charge of so if someone called the police and an officer responded, and if they even said I want the supervisor, and the supervisor responded, those 22 men and women that worked that northern district all reported to me. I was the commander. I was the female commander. It was one other female among the 22 people that reported to me, and I was the only. I was an African American. There was an African American sergeant. There was a Latino sergeant, and there was a white sergeant. Everybody else were white males. So I'm telling you, there's no, and Caucasian, whatever way you prefer to say it. But let me tell you this: that in leadership, it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter where you came from, but what it does matter is what is inside and what you bring to the table. You guys with me? Thumbs up, thumbs up. I'm gonna put my thing back up because I can't see you all, and I want to see a little bit. All right, all right. So I'm gonna move this around a little bit here. Oh, all right. So this was gonna be my icebreaker, but I want to know from you all, anybody in the room. So Otis said you all can't talk. That is messing my mojo up. Okay, but let me tell you this. Let me look at my chat. Let me go with my chat up. I got that. In the chat, tell me how many of you right now in your current position, you are considered a leader. In your current position, you are already considered a leader. If that's you, just type me. In your current position, whether it be, and if you're not sure if you're a leader, we're gonna get down to it. I want you to write me. All right, let me see what we got here. All right. Oh, awesome. Lots of me's in here. Yes. So I also want, I'm loving it. Oh my goodness. So let's see, Romaine, Armstrong, Carlos, Emmanuel, Jeremiah, Tentu. If I'm not saying that right, make sure I get that right now. James, Fester, Joel, Amb, it just says Amb, right? Estelle. Yeah, wow. The great deal of you are already serving in leadership. So this is going to be great. All right. So we're going to just move on because we have limited time. We don't want. All right. Let me close this up a little bit here. All right. So module 1. So I'm standing back up because I want you guys to just listen. I want to show you something. First of all, for all my leaders, I know you've seen it before, but I'm going to show it to you again. Do you guys see what I have in my hand? Give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Matter of fact, give me a heart so I know the difference. Do you see the 2 glasses I have in my hand? Give me a heart if you see it. And I'm going to assume that you do. All right. So you all can see that this glass here, to some of you, it's either half full or half empty. To the rest of you, I'm sure that you can see that this is an empty glass. What is my point that I'm making here? My point is, before we even get started, that nobody, whether you are a woman, man, whatever you call yourself, however you represent, you cannot pour from a glass that is already empty. You can't give them what you don't have, okay? You can't give them what you don't have. So how many of you have ever had a supervisor or somebody that was in a position of authority, and they were asking you to do something that it was very clear that they themselves had never done or didn't know how to do themselves? They were trying to pour from a glass that was empty. If that's you, give me a thumbs up. If that's not you, but if you have had that, if you've ever had that, give me a thumbs up. So this is the glass. So I want you to do this. I want you to remember that if you don't do anything else from today, I want you to have the idea that you are going to have something to pour and make sure you drink. What we say in my hometown, make sure you drink in your own Kool-Aid. Make sure that you're willing to drink what you are offering other people. Make sure that you're willing to do any and everything that you're asking someone else to do. And I'm going to stand up because I want you all I want to give you some points. So mastery, I want you guys to write this down. It's mastery over the mindset to work with what you have. It's mastery over your mindset to work with what you have. Can you guys still hear me clearly? And just because I can see your emojis better than I can see the chat, somebody give me a heart if you can hear me just as well as you were able to hear me earlier. Perfect. Perfecto. Thank you. All right. So studies have shown that having a woman in a leadership position is a huge benefit to your organization, and including accountability. So before I was this great person where I was the leader of the pack, when I joined the police department, I started in the Metropolitan Police Department. And in that police department, I was a police officer. I responded to calls for service. Oops. And I will tell you that I was the only female on the squad. When I was working, things were kind of chill. We just responded to calls. We had an uneventful night. We did what we were supposed to do. The days that I wasn't at work, the guys got in trouble. And they started telling me, and they would call me by my last name. That's what they do. Is they say, Wall, I'm putting this over here, you guys. I'm sorry, just because I want to make sure you can see this. Wall, you're not here. We got in trouble. Why they got in trouble is because there was just so much testosterone. It was ego against ego. It was ego all the time. So one of the things that and most times we come in with this a little bit more, a little softer. And so I brought a different energy to the room. So tell me what are one of the barriers that you think that women may face? I want you to think about a barrier. Understanding that women make up half of the workforce, yet we are promoted to leadership at a far less rate. How many of you had difficulty? And see, this would be so much easier if we were in the class together. So I want to talk about, let's talk about this. This is our objectives. We're going to discuss those barriers. We're going to talk about the principles, and we're going to understand the benefits. I have to keep moving this around because you guys can't, I don't know if you can see me moving this little thing, but I'm moving it around so I can see you all, but also while the screen's not on. Okay. Women are leaders everywhere. So have anybody here in law, educators, in medicine? Where is your lane of brilliance? And I see this is not going to work because I want to be able to engage you all and you can't talk to me. So we're going to rotate. You all don't laugh because I am, if you were in my class, I have students, so I teach at a local university, and all of my students that are in my class, I teach hybrid classes. Everybody shows up for class because we have high energy. I love emojis. We do a lot. There's no such thing as boring. We have no boring classes because I won't stand for it. And so we're going to rotate. But because I can't see you all, I got to be able to answer. I got to engage because you can't talk. You're not allowed to talk. So tell me, let me get my chat open here. I love it. Thank you. Thank you, Estelle. You're keeping me going here. So tell me, anybody here in education? If that's you, you can say me. You can write it in the chat. You can do what you want. But this is what I want. All right. Okay, this is awesome. Okay, this is great. Let me thank you to my educators, because I'm going to tell you, I have a special place in my heart for educators because but most of the educators I had were some great humans, and I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for somebody that believed in me beyond me believing in myself. So even on those days when it gets hard, I want you not to quit. I want you not to get angry. I want you to say, you know what do I need in that moment? All right, let's jump into this. All right, let's jump in because we got to get it moving because I don't want us to miss anything. All right, so women, and we're going to move through this really quickly. So if you don't worry, somebody write in the chat, note takers are money makers. Note takers are money makers. I'm going to give all this to you, but this is just me rolling through it really quickly. Women are leaders everywhere. We already know that. 50% of the population, and when I say population, I'm talking about 50% of the population in the US. Now, we can go broader, but I want you to use that as an example. 50% of the population, that's us. We make up in the workforce. 60% of us have earned college degrees. Me being one of those. 60% of us have earned college degrees. 52% of the US women are in the workforce. Let's go back. So women make up 50% of the population in the US. 60% of them have college degrees, and 52% of them are in the US workforce. All right, that's 52% of us or have professional jobs. Now let's talk about this case study. And I want to make sure I get to this. And matter of fact, I might die. You skipped the. Oh, I did. Okay. So there is Richard and Sarah. Richard and Sarah were tasked with creating a program to increase women's leadership within their organization. Now I'm gonna read this because I thought this was just so good. And this is their conversation. I just don't think there are that many women in our industry, said Richard at the first meeting. I think I've met one administrator who was a woman. I just don't think women are that interested in what we do. And Sarah provided him with a report of all the employees in their organization. And to his surprise, over half of the employees were women. But when he took a closer look, he noticed something else. While there were many women in the organization, they almost all occupied secretarial and administrative positions, with many of them in human resources. Anybody here in human resources? That's okay if you are. We need you in human resources because that's a lot. Everything goes through human resources, risk management, all of those important things. There were no female engineers and only a handful of managers. None of the board members were female. So he and Sarah decided to look into this a little further and found it to be a larger trend across many businesses. So how many of you have actually taken a look at maybe in your class? So I'm going to tell you, in my classes, I am very strategic. I don't let people just come in and sit down in the class. I put the nameplates and I kind of move them around so they, because many of them are in the military. So if you're in the Army, I don't let you sit next to another Army person. If you are serving on the same, living on the same base, I don't let you sit next to the same person. If you're the same, I try to mix them up so that they can actually learn more about one another. So let's review module 2. Ooh. Women make up which percentage of the US population? Type it in the chat. Now y'all better remember that I said it. I know I said it. What is the percentage? Nobody typing? All right, we got a 60%. Anybody else? 50%? All right, let's move on to it. All right, women make up half, 50% of the US population. However, they are not represented in leadership positions at this rate. Don't worry, you all, you're going to get this. Which is true. They make many household expenditure decisions, all the above, or they make up about half of the workforce, or they are the primary caregivers. Now, I won't even challenge you guys with this one. I didn't give you this fact, but the fact of the matter is women make about half the workforce, but are still the primary homemakers and caregivers. They are powerful market share and make many household expenditure decisions. Example, I am married. We have 3 adult sons. I have 3 granddaughters. And throughout them growing up, I was not able, because it was required, just the way, our lifestyle was required for both of us to work. And therefore I was in the workforce, but I still had to be mom, wife, caregiver to my father-in-law, who we also took care of. So just because I went to work every day didn't mean I didn't have to come home and still do the things that were required of me as a mother. Is anybody else in that same position? All right, so what women make up what percentage of the US workforce? Anybody? I'm being very aware of the time because I know that we started a few minutes late. So if I move through it, you all please forgive. Women make up about 47% of the US workforce. They tend to be overrepresented in services and low wages, but this is because we make up about half of all the professionals. You all can read that. I want to read the screen. We don't like screen readers. We don't like screen readers. And then we're on the module 2. We're still there. Which is true of the women in the US. They tend to be did I already do this? Oh, they tend to be overrepresented in the service of labor, they tend to be overrepresented in part-time labor or all of the above, or they're participating in the workforce at the highest level. And you all know, we don't have to, that we are not. Women are participating in the paid workforce at the highest level in history. However, we still tend to be overrepresented in services and part-time labor. And that is very true. So I'm going to ask you this question before I move on. What am I holding in my hand? What are these? Anybody, can you see them? Let me see if I can you see what these things are? Anybody? This is an orange. Close enough. It does look like an apple. It does, but it's actually an orange and a tomato. Correct. And they are what? What are they? Are they fruits or vegetables?
Vegetables. Vegetables and fruits.
Okay, so let me tell you that Leroy, I'm going to tell you that. See, somebody said that the fruit and vegetable. Now I'm going to tell you, now that's always my challenge. Now y'all don't get mad at me. Just look it up. I said this is a vegetable because it's in my vegetable bin. This is a fruit, and that's why I buy it in the fruit, right? But they say that this tomato is not a vegetable because it has seeds. Y'all don't judge me. That's what the people say. So, but at the same time, I'm showing you these two things because both of them are very nutritious. Both of them help us to live. However, they are uniquely different. But sometimes we are judging our orange by tomato standards, or we're judging our tomato by orange standards, and they are two totally different things. I want you to remember that as a leader, no matter what you do, whether man, woman, boy, or girl, don't assume what anybody can do and can't do. And the reason I'm saying that is my husband, he's still in law enforcement, and he once upon a time had a female who worked for him who was his corporal. He was a sergeant, and they had to go in this one place, and he decided that he needed to go in first because he's the man. And he did this because she was on her way in, and he pushed it back. No, let me go in first. And he thought he was doing, he was doing chivalry. He was doing something but she was super offended because she felt that he only did that because he had never done that for any of the other male officers who all wore the same uniform, had the same guns, the same everything. So he was super offended. So just remember where chivalry and being a gentleman and being just accommodating is wonderful, but always remember to keep it professional and don't decide for anybody whether or not they are capable or whether they require you to step up. Allow it to happen organically. And you guys, if you're feeling what I'm saying on that, please raise your hand. I mean, give me a thumbs up. Let me know you're with me. I think there's a song in there. All right. So what percentage of college degrees are earned by women? I'm moving through. And that is 60%. And when women enter college at a higher rate than they appear, period. And you guys, this little fact right here is thought was right interesting. Women enter college at higher rates than men do and appear more willing to take on debt to stay in school. They also drop out at lower rates than men. Now, I'm going to equate that sometimes the dropout, particularly for men, is because they have to, because of life, stress, taking care of family. There's some of those same reasons are why women drop out, because a lot of my students, many of them are men, and they are, when they write to me, I tell them that my job is to help them get to to achieve their next things. I am a professor of University of Maryland, Global University from University of Maryland here in the United States, and the global college is global, right? And many of my students are all over the world. I have a class going on right now, and it's criminal justice, intro to criminal justice. And most of my students are in Japan and all over the world. And I'm telling you that the stress that they're experiencing, and they're in the military, some of them are in the military, it's not even the military that's causing the stress, it's their family situation, it's just life. So I want you all to keep that in mind. Women hold about 52% of all professional jobs. Women make up about half the professional work. And I want to move through this. So you guys, we already asked this question. How does women in, oops. I want to click off of this because I want to move, you guys will have this. When Sarah and Richard were tasked with increasing the women's leadership in their organization, Richard was surprised to find out how many women work for their organization. How many, like right now, women are underrepresented in executive positions. I'm going to tell you, we are still, typically, you might get 1 or 2 in the room, or you might get a plethora of them in the room, but they may not be the executives. Anybody here an executive in their area? And if you are an executive, is it more than one of you, more than one? If you're a female, are you an executive? And if you are there more than one of you in your space? And if they are, please put it in the chat, because I would like to know. There's more women in finance and healthcare. The leadership gap is phenomenal. So let's talk about historical trends. Now, how many? I want to say there is a. I'm gonna, Matt, let me put in the chat. I want to put. In fact, I'm going to give you guys some. In fact, I will give you this whole presentation, but I'm going to give you some things to work on, because I'm going to tell you that when you work on yourself. Oh, hope you all can still see me? Can you still see me? Because okay, I plugged in another monitor and it may have taken you off the screen. Can you all still see me? Uh-oh. All right. So are you seeing my screen? Are you seeing me? Or are you seeing the screen? Can someone advise? Are you seeing me? So are you seeing a beautiful picture of me putting the hair behind my ear? Or are you seeing? Oh my gosh, this is such a life, family, such a life. I think, yeah, that's hilarious. Okay, you know what? Let me stop sharing for 1 second. I love it. I love it. I love it. We are going to stop sharing. I want to be able to see you all. So I'm going to send you all the full view. So I couldn't see everything. So I switched to other screens. Y'all gonna get a little bit of this side profile. Y'all with it, right? But I want to put in the chat. I'm going to put in the chat because I want to give you, and you guys, it's a little flip. You will be able to flip through it on your own, and you will appreciate it. Yes, you will. Let me see. Here we go. Copy. And then you guys are off the screen anyway, so it doesn't matter. All right, you guys see that? Look through that, and I'm going to put a couple of things in the chat because I don't want to miss giving you these things today, because tomorrow is going to be a whole nother thing. It's going to be very interactive. And so I'm going to need you to give them permission. Otis, they're going to have to be able to talk to me tomorrow, like fully, and just engage, just if you don't mind, if you just bless me with that. Okay, copy. And then, okay, you got that. Oh. Okay. And then everybody, I would love it if you can go click on my YouTube page, which is my YouTube page. And I would love it if you all would follow, if you would subscribe to that, just so you can get more, just so much more. Subscribe to that. That's my free, that's a great way for you all to get information. And wait a minute. I created this for you all about self-discovery because I want every leader needs to have this. This is what I give to all of my mastermind, all of the people that I teach. Because the one thing I find is that, that before you can lead somebody else, you must first lead yourself. So I teach you about that. Okay, I gave you all that. You all got that? You got the flip book. You have that. Oh, this I'm at 4:53. Do I have a hard cutoff at 5? Or am I getting more time because we started a little late? No worries, we're keeping it smoking. No worries, we're keeping it smoking. But you all, I want you to, are you able to come? Oh, no, y'all can't come off of. Okay, hold on. One more thing that I promised I was going to give you all today. I want you, this is the Google Doc, because it is important that you understand what it is you need to do. Okay. All right, so I gave you all of that. All right, so this is the deal, you all. In Women in Leadership, I gave you my little presentation. I'm going to show you. I don't particularly care for PowerPoints and presentations, but they're good visuals. But I wanted to tell you this. I am a woman leader. Almost everywhere I go, everybody serves. We all bring our unique selves to the party. I think there's room for everybody in the room. When you have a little bit of everybody in the room, there's a couple of things that happens. The first thing is, know this. Everybody is not going to identify with you. I'm real clear. Now, look, for my other folks that feel this is not true, this is my truth, I'm going to tell you why it works for me. I know that when I go to get certain things, when I went to go get my car fixed, I get treated a little bit differently when I'm with a male. When he speaks, they listening. I might know more about cars or more about the engine or about what's going on with the car than him, but they listen. When there's other environments, then they may listen to me. Just use your strengths. Now, granted, as soon as I start talking and I start talking about certain subjects, they're like, oh, wait a minute, she's very familiar. And then I got to earn quickly. I have to earn the respect where my husband gets it, whether he really is all that familiar with it or not. So, but understand this, we don't care about that. We just want the great service. We just want it to get done. It doesn't matter what the perception was. So as a leader, if you are a leader, and we're going to talk about, we're going to get deep and dive in this thing called Women in Leadership tomorrow and the day after. When you lead from here, this was just a cursory, the why, if you will, the why. Because remember, the teaching is repeating until learning takes place. I need you to understand that women in leadership is not just a checkbox. Women in leadership is an instrumental, as a tool, because most successful entrepreneurs, most successful leaders, or should I say struggling leaders, struggling entrepreneurs, and struggling business professionals, they struggle for a couple of reasons. One, they're addicted to the process. And the process is, well, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to check these boxes, but they haven't really put strategies in place. If you are challenged with, okay, I need to grow my business. I need to get more women. I need to get more of this. I need to get whatever. One, everybody write it down. Assessments are your friend. Because I'm going to tell you, resumes and word of mouth is very instrumental. But if they do an assessment, then you can kind of see what they're not putting on their resume. You can kind of see who the person is and put them in the right places. And if you have somebody that has a lot of, they look well put together, they get along with just about anybody in a sense where they're very friendly, you just want to be around them, then put them out in the front. And women, and I'm going to tell you, women, now not all women, but women are really good at some things. And so this is what I want you all to do. Know that women in leadership bring who they are. So many of them are mothers. And we can't stop being mothers. We are somebody's sisters. We're somebody's daughters. We bring that energy, you know, in every environment, you need a balance. You need a balance of everything. And women in leadership, this is a couple things. And I want to, you know, guys, I know you're going to, this is the one thing I do know is that you all love these meetings because as a commander, I always go to commanders conferences. It was called Noble. It was for African-American police executives. And the most popular workshop, which was standing room only, and I, as an African-American female commander, could barely get in the room because the guys were in there, in the room. Because we were talking leadership and we kept it 100, as the kids say. And that's because we talked about real stuff. We talked about fear. We talked about imposter syndrome. We talked about how sometimes you go in the room and it's all wrapped up in imposter syndrome. We talked about how do you overcome, you know, being the new person and you get the buy-in. So I'm going to give you all, before they tell me my time is, I want to give you one thing. And men, women, children, this is true for anybody. If you're in a room and you're talking, and particularly if you're finding that you're not being respected and honored or recognized, and you're at a table in a conference room, I need you to do this. One, you're at the table. Now, you guys have already heard it said that if they're not making room for you, then one, they tell you to bring your own, bring your own chair. No, make your own table. If you're a speaker and you can't find speakers, platforms, create your own platform. But this is the thing I want you to do. One, this worked for me, and I do all the time. Now I am tall. I'm very tall. I am 5. Let me move this table out of the way. I am 5'10" with no shoes on. I am about 6 foot, 6 something with some heels on, and I love to wear heels. But ladies and gentlemen, when you are speaking, I need you. Let me move some stuff back because I don't want. One, I don't know if you guys can fully see me. But I want you to stand. Now, you know, don't stand with your feet together because that means you look like you stand at attention. I want you to give it just a little bit of space. You can't see my feet, but I want you to stand when you're talking. I want you to steeple your hands. And I want you to, so if you're making a point, just say, stand on. I don't care. It may seem awkward, but I want you to stand up. And I want you to address the room as you're making your thing. Now, this is the thing. See my hand? See the palm of my hand? Women in leadership, this is important, particularly for you, particularly for us. Because, you know, there's some people don't like it or don't like it. There's some people that don't like it that you're there. They think that you should not be in charge. You're a woman. How dare you be in charge of something? But know that you have so much institutional knowledge in that room. Do not miss the opportunity to take advantage of all that institutional knowledge. And this is what you do. When you have an idea, you come in the room. Number one, how many of you, and you guys can put in there, you can put, have ever had something where somebody in the room, they said we're having a brainstorming session. It's a brainstorming session. But the person came in, they didn't brainstorm, they didn't ask you anything. They came up with an idea and they just said, okay, now you implement it. See, that's not a brainstorming session. So this is how you get the buy-in for the brainstorming session. Number one, you have a blank board. Just pretend this is the board, right? Pretend this is the board. And you say, listen, you open your hands up. See, you open your hands up shows that you're open to information. I want you to look around the room and you say, listen, I'm standing before you and I'm standing here as the leader because I have a title of this. But everybody in this room is a leader or you wouldn't be here. I called each and every one of you in the room because you add value to this organization and to each person here. And then I want you, you guys, it's a book called What If. It's a book called What If, and I will send it to give it to you guys tomorrow. I want you to have what if scenarios. What ifs. And so you're gonna have to do this brainstorming session. The only qualification, or the one thing you cannot do is nobody can say, "But we've never done it that way," or "We can't do it that way." They cannot say that. They can only build on. They have to make the world's biggest dream. If it can be done, boy, they just got to come up with it, right? So an example, they can be like, "Okay, Stephanie, we need to hire. Let's say the accountant department is struggling. It's not connecting with the marketing department, and somehow our communication is broken. What can we do to fix it?" And that person, so Stephanie will come up with one idea, and I might say, "Okay, then what we could reach out to the accountant department and get their feedback and implement one of their ideas immediately." The next person can only say, "Okay. So, and I write it on the board. And the next person would say, let's say Tracy, let's say Joel. Joel would say, "Okay." And then we're going to, while we're implementing that, we're going to also implement a program that the best idea, they get a day off, or they get some type of incentive. All right, we add that. And somebody might be thinking, "No, we can't do that," but you can't. We just gonna keep the next person, "Okay." And then we're gonna, and you just keep building on and keep building, and you just keep writing and you keep writing and you keep writing. Now, with your idea, if you have an idea, you can say, "I have this little idea. I need you all to build it up. I want you to make it the impossible." And then once you all together come up with something, right? You came up with that big old thing. Then you all together say, "All right, this is, it seems like it's unrealistic, right? All right, if failure wasn't an option, and we take all the barriers out of the way, what could we do to make this happen?" If somebody told you that, would you be like, "Okay, all right," and you work together? But you let them know, because see, first of all, that's their idea. See, the problem is as leaders, we always trying to force ideas down people's throats. But as women, I need you to go in and recognize. So I'm going to tell you, not only do I want you to stand up, but I want you to recognize the people in the room. And I want you to learn how to, when somebody has an idea, and your ideas are going to get stolen, and somebody is going to say to you, "You cannot do," somebody's going to say, "Oh, well, you can just work with him and he said your idea," or whatever. Noted. Right? And then work. But stand up and own your ideas. And great. I would love to work with David. I would love to work with Joel. Joel and I, we have the same idea. Joel, I'm looking forward to working with you, because Joel, you are great at this ABC. Give Joel his props. You new to the party, but ladies, leaders lead. Okay, and then my last thing, because I feel like I'm lecturing. I don't want to be a lecturer. I want to engage. I want you to remember this. I said it already there on my thing at the beginning, and that is this: every day. Somebody write every day. Every day for 12 minutes a day, you should be learning something new. If you are challenged in any area of your career, many of my clients, many of my students, and many of my coaching clients in business, they are challenged. Thank you all. They are challenged with certain things. So I'm going to tell you, there's a thing. If you are challenged with, let's say, public speaking, then I want you to follow who is the person that you want to not necessarily be them, but you would love to be able to speak like they speak. Well, then follow them on social media. In this day and age, everybody's on social media or on YouTube or somewhere. Follow that person. And I don't want you just to, and I challenge you, you guys to do this. I don't want you just to listen. No. Thank you, Ms. Armstrong. Don't just listen to what they're saying. I want you to watch. I want you to look at the way they say it. I could do a whole talk on public speaking. I could teach any of you how to be the most fabulous public speakers in one setting. That's a whole nother talk show, right? But I'm going to tell you, great speakers are not born. They are made. It's about your inflection. It's about your energy. It's about you sharing knowledge. It's about you sharing data. Like you already know, you guys know that the 50% of the women in the United States women make up 50% of the population, but only 52% of the workforce. That's data points. You also know, in closing, because I know that I'm going to get it shortly, I want you all to remember, if you don't remember anything else about today, about anything in leadership, no matter what, we're talking women in leadership, but I'm talking leadership in general. You all, leadership, everything in your life is surrounded around mindset. Nothing changes till you change the mind. I study transformation. I study mindset. I absolutely have trained, and I studied the NLP method. If you are familiar with that, Tony Robbins uses it. Many others, John Maxwell, and so many others. But I will tell you that if you believe, and when I say believe, I'm not talking hokey dokey. I want you to imagine. I want you to imagine your head, and we like to in my training with Bob, the late Bob Proctor, was we imagine the mind, because people, when I say, hey, go look at what color is your door, you have to imagine your door. You have to imagine your door. You have to see it, because we're visual people. So the same goes for us seeing ourselves doing something. The same goes for that. I love it. Thank you, Romaine. I want you to do this right now. Just know that our mind, we can think of a lot of different things, right? But we can only focus on one thing at a time. So today, somebody write today, on this day, because we're going to work on crashing all that this weekend. Tonight, I want you guys' homework is to write down the 10 lies. Write down the 10 lies that you tell yourself about why you can't lead well. The 10 lies that you tell yourself about why you can't lead well. It can be your personal life. It can be your professional life. But I want you to write down those 10 lies. And when you write those 10 lies down, I want you to write them down in pencil. Leave some space in between each lie. Leave some space in between those things. Then I want you to go on the others, right between. Okay, so you're gonna write your lie, have some space. In between it, I want you to write in pen. I want you to you can Google it, however you want. I want you to find an affirmation that goes against the lie. Example, if you write down, and now not for leadership, I'm just gonna give this example just overall. I have a lot of clients that say that they are terrible with managing money. They say, I'm terrible with managing money. So the affirmation would be, money flows to me and through me easily. And I say through me because if you are like tithers, if you want to make sure, if most people want money so they can do something, they might want to have money so they can build their schools. They might want to have money so they can build their churches. They might have money so that they can give it to their whatever they want, help someone else. But in order to help them, the money has to come to you. So it comes to you and through you, because know that your gifts, talents, and abilities are for service. And in turn, when you serving, that provides for you. Write that down. Your gifts are for you to serve. And your gifts are for service that provide for you. Your gifts are for service that provide for you. Now, I want you to write those affirmations. Write down the lie, write the affirmation down in the middle. Then for the next 30 days, I want you to read the lie, the affirmation, the lie, the affirmation. And after 30 days, I want you to erase the lie. Why do I tell you that? Because your mind, you've been telling yourself those lies for so long, and all the mind is doing, because in your mind, you are feeding yourself, you're feeding your self-conscious mind, your unconscious mind, you are feeding that. And so then your critical thinking mind, they say, well, that must be the truth. That must be the truth. It must be not feeding anything else. But if you feed it something else, when it goes this lane, it'll be like, wait a minute, but that ain't the only thing, because it also knows this. And after a while, this will fall off. And only thing it will know is that you are really a phenomenal leader, and you will show up the way you see yourself. It doesn't matter what the world tells you. It doesn't matter what everybody else says. It doesn't matter what You read in the book, you can read the book till your eyes fall out. But if you don't believe and implement what you learn, then nothing happens. In fact, my final thing to you all is this, because I have written it down here. And I want to make sure I say it correctly here. Until you train with what you know, the full manifestation of what that knowledge is supposed to be and do in your life and your business will never show up. That's my boy. That's my mentor, Trevor Otts. He says that to us all the time. So I'm going to say it to you guys again. Until you train with what you know, the full manifestation of what that knowledge is supposed to be and do in your life and in your business will never show up. One more time, and I promise we out of here. Until you train with what you know, somebody type that in the chat. Until you train with what you know, the full manifestation of what that knowledge is supposed to be and do in your life and in your business will never show up. What you are after is mastery, and the full manifestation of the training is mastery. Ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow there's going to be a lot of engagement. I want you to come and prepare to take notes and to engage. Otis is going to allow us to actually come on screen and have a dialogue, because it's important that we dialogue, because I need to hear from you, because I'm good at what I do. I'm good at making leaders even better. I'm great at making great leaders to be amazing. I'm great at making people that are great leaders that don't know it yet even better. But I cannot do that if I don't know what it is that your challenges are. So if you can put in the chat so I can let me know one thing is that you came to get, one thing that I can help you with so that we can move on to that. So ladies and gentlemen, if you got something from today, can you just put into the chat, you did it for me. You did it for me. If today was something, if you got something on today, put in there, you did it for me. I would love to hear it. Let me see here. Otis, are you here?
Wow. Yeah, I'm here.
Oh.